Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow on Groundhog Day. And Chris, I'm glad you're in Florida. I'm in Southern California because our friends in the Northeast are getting slammed.
It's cold here too, man. It's not even 50 degrees here.
Snow though. So.
No, I don't. But I am. I feel like I am in the middle of episode of the movie Groundhog Day with what we're going through right now.
Oh yeah.
It's a good segue.
Anyway, welcome all. Stay warm, stay safe. Hey, there's our certificate. Ton of information. Let's get into it. What we're asking on this is, I worded this poorly. Do you like the logistics for the first draw on how we did the first draw through E-Trend, or now with the new portal PPP 2.0? Which one do you prefer? Chris?
Yeah, I'm with the majority. I think the first one, we all knew it, and it functioned quite a bit better in many ways than this one.
It was funny. We had the poll question, and yesterday it said 85% of people had holds, and I got a snarky note, which I thought was funny. It said, Bob, you need to change your headline. 15% of lenders lie.
Yeah, my wife asked me how come I didn't shave this morning for your show, and I said because this is my SBA Air Holdco beard.
I love it.
I'm just dealing with it like everyone is.
What percentage of 2021 PPP are second draw loans?
This is high.
What do you think, Chris? What do you think the answer is? I know what it is.
90-some percent probably.
Oh, very good, Chris. Everyone got it right. 93%. Two-thirds.
Oh,
you got it right. And the question is why is it? Why is it so high? Why are we at 93% versus only 7% for first draw, Chris?
Well, I think a lot of the folks that were sophisticated enough to go through the process probably got their loan the first time around, and a lot of those have been suffering since they got their first draw. So obviously they've come back to get the second draw, and they're eligible for it. I am a little surprised on how many folks have come back for first draw. A lot of them are sole proprietors, small independent contractors, but there's a fair amount of them out there as well. They're just, the loans tend to be smaller for the most part.
Katie, did they strengthen the eligibility or expand the eligibility for first draw loans? Is that why some people?
Yeah, there were a few eligibility changes that were made between the last draw or the last round of this and this new round. So there might be a couple of people who weren't eligible before that are now eligible for a first draw. That's probably representing some of those people. Other people maybe just didn't think they needed it, and now they're actually needing it.
They didn't think they were eligible, right, Chris? Is that
right, or maybe they didn't think they were eligible, or their lending institution was turning them down. I don't really know the situation, but it doesn't surprise me that it's mostly second draw right now.
Yep.
Average loan size on PPP second draw loan is, and Katie, do you remember what the average loan size for the first draw was? What did we end up with?
I know it was like under 150 because they were really pushing for that 150 mark. I know maybe I don't know the exact number. I know it was under 150 before. Yeah,
a little over 100,000, I think. Chris, do you remember what that was? The average
I think it was closer to like 75 grand because there were so many on the latter part, July and August, that were so much smaller that they brought the average down.
Anyway, the answer here is 82,000. So answers are all over the.
That actually surprised me a little when I saw that. I thought it would be a little bit lower, but it has been a little while since all these businesses have been able to have their first draw, and so a lot of them need that money, and it's built up, and they need more money than they did if we got the money out earlier.
Chris, these are the numbers. We're not quite at 1 million yet approved. We're at 72 billion Is that where you would expect it to be? Well, we've been live now for what, 3 weeks, if I'm correct on that? 2 weeks?
No, this is, no, it went live for all lenders. It went live on January 19th. I don't think you can, you only had 5 billion the week before that. So I think these numbers are artificially low because of the errors, the holds, the oldness. So I'm serious. I'm not to bring that up, the poor subject up again, but I think these are low. I know plenty of lenders out there that have more errors and hold codes than they do approved loans, and that's a real shame. I know we are quickly approaching, since Friday, 400 errors and holds, and that's after we've actually resolved dozens, if not close to 100 already.
Do you mind sharing what percentage?
We're probably running about 3-to-1 approvals to holds at the moment.
So you're about 25%. Yeah, the polls we show were right at 20%. So that makes sense. 1 in 4, 1 in 5 are being. But
some of these are just silly. It's almost as if somebody doesn't want the money to get out there because some of these are whatever databases SBA's API is using behind the scenes. Some of it's not accurate. There's definite mistakes. It's going to take probably weeks to resolve some of these things, and a lot of pain and suffering from both the lender side and the borrower side. And it's really a shame because I know it was meant, the best intentions to have extra validations to prevent more fraud. But boy, there's definitely some unintended consequences here.
Yeah, the pendulum has gone the other way in some instances, which is too bad. Yep. Anything strike you on these numbers, Katie, on the loan breakdown?
Not too much. I mean, we already discussed that first draw, second draw breakdown and the percentage. That didn't surprise me too much from the polls that we've been doing, and we've talked to a couple lenders now on it, and most of them were saying that almost all their loans have been those second draw loans. It was nice to get the breakdown, though, because I was curious if that was just the lenders that we were talking to or the lenders on our show. Otherwise, it didn't surprise me too much.
I know this is a story that John Riosti with American Banker, the big boys, the loan numbers are down and the slack is being carried by smaller community banks, non-bank lenders such as CRIS, credit unions. And that's a significant change from what happened last year, where Wells Fargo and Chase was public information. They ended up firing a bunch of people for internal issues.
Yep.
So, what's happening in the Senate tomorrow?
Yeah, so the Senate Small Business Committee is having a nomination hearing for Guzman, who's been nominated by Biden to be the SBA Administrator. She's got a great little blurb about herself, and I'm sure she'll go into more detail at tomorrow's live hearing. She talks about working with her family's veterinary hospital. When she was younger, they owned a small business veterinary hospital in California, and she talks about her experience growing up in a family that worked in small business. She's currently a small business advocate, so she discusses that a little bit, and I'm sure she'll go into more detail on that as well. And she's really saying that if she does get this position and get confirmed, that she wants to really focus on inequalities in the economy and focus on making sure minorities and groups that have historically not been able to access funds are able to do so.
Yeah. And she was head of the California Small Business State Program. If you're interested, you can Google it. The Senate does stream these live. We don't have the link. Just Google Senate Small Business.
Yeah, it's really easy to find. If you go to the Senate Small Business website, they have a link at the very top that says hearings. It's the very first one on the top when you click on that one.
Katie, and you already have her opening statement. Did we link that in today's handouts?
That's so if you go to that hearing page, I don't know if it is in our handouts. It might be. But if it's not, if you go to that hearings page on the Senate Small Business website, it's going to be at the very bottom of that page. You can't see the video obviously yet because it hasn't happened, but they have a little spot for that. And you scroll all the way to the bottom. She has her statement already uploaded there.
Katie, do you see any issues with her being approved?
No, not really. She seems like a pretty safe bet. Hopefully she's understanding all the issues, and I'm sure they'll run a lot of questions by her like they did with the last administrator. But she seems like so far qualified. So I'm happy with the choice as long as she's prepared for it.
Any additional insight, Chris?
No, I think it's, having run the California statewide program, I suspect this is kind of a layup for most of the senators to vote for her. I do hope that the new administration does get some more folks as part of the SBA with lending backgrounds. I think that would be very helpful, just for the sake of integrity of the programs. But I think Ms. Guzman's pretty much a shoo-in at this point.
Yeah, and she has held a position before with SBA. I don't have that at my fingertips. So
yeah, she was. I want to say she was like deputy chief of staff, perhaps.
I don't.
In the Obama administration. Yeah.
So that's nice. She understands the agency. She has some small business experience. She was the administrator of a previous program, and a lot. So she has some executive management skills, which some of the administrators we've had over the last years have not. So that's nice. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with both of you. I don't see any issues, and it should go rather smoothly. We have a ton of questions. Let's get to it. Sarah says, we have not received hold codes, but instead no approvals. It's just gone into Netherlands.
It's even worse, Sarah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, Chris, you're a lot of help.
Well, I can't do anything when I don't have any evidence. She asked, is anyone else being directed to use LexisNexis? I think LexisNexis and Dun & Bradstreet are two of the databases that are running behind the scenes, although SBA has neither confirmed nor denied that. But we've not been directed to use LexisNexis. We occasionally do if we suspect fraud, but yeah.
Russell wants to know if it's on the holds list, if we clear the hold, is it cleared, or do we have to resubmit the application?
Well, it depends, Russell. Sometimes it clears itself, and most of the time you have to resubmit. So it really depends on which of the 47, 49 hold codes we know about so far.
Yeah, I think the intent was to not have to resubmit, because that was the problem before. You had to resubmit if there was a problem. But I'm still hearing a lot of lenders say that they're still having to resubmit. So unfortunately, unless they get that updated, that's where we're at right now.
Very good. Let's go to these. Dan, you're asking a question. Katie, we'll do some research. Do you know the answer to this, Katie? I don't. I doubt Chris does.
I don't know it off the top of my head. The only thing I know about EIDL refinance was that it's involved with the first draw, not the second. Right. Yep. Other than that, I don't really remember details.
Dan, we'll research that and get back to you.
We've only had 400 plus pages of documentation.
Yeah, Katie, I don't know why you don't have that.
2 weeks. I mean, come
on. We have a Christian school. These are the questions that came in before the show, which, by the way, I thank you for that. And, okay, let's go to Katie's other question, then we'll get to the Christian school. We have a loan decline with the reason dormant business. Do you know what that means? They are bank customers, and we know they are up and running, and check Secretary of State for status.
Well, again, I suspect this is a situation where you submitted it, and SBA's API and whatever's running behind them decided that it was a dormant business. I think you'll have the ability to resubmit with evidence, possibly directly to the servicing centers, showing that they are in fact still in business. I suspect having a current occupational license would help Just because it says it's permanently closed on Google doesn't necessarily mean it. I've seen several instances of that where borrowers have been able to disprove whatever Google has decided that they're permanently closed. So I think this, if you're convinced, Kathy, that this is not a closed business or even temporarily closed, then I think you'll have a pretty good argument to be made. But unfortunately, you're going to have to jump through some hoops, I'm afraid, to get this hold off.
Great. We have a Christian school who is trying to say they are a seasonal business and want to use the 10-month average for the loan calculation based on their payroll. We've done a few schools like this, and we believe the answer is no, and want your opinion.
I haven't run across this yet, so I don't know if technically a school is by default considered seasonal, given that they're so-called out of not in business, so to speak, during the summertime. But I don't know. I'm not really sure what the proper answer is.
Well, I think that would be easy to document that.
Yeah, should be. But
closed for 2 months out of the. I would say if there's documentation to say they're closer 2 months to the year, you're okay.
If they really are. I mean, but a lot of schools run summer camps and summer schools and all sorts of other things. I don't think just by de facto being a school means that they're necessarily a seasonal business.
Well, I think Ralph sort of answers this question. Who is trying to say? I think that right there is.
Yeah.
Ralph, stick to your guns. Raman asked the question, is this correct? We have 1121 owner, no payroll, only K1. Not PP qualified, but if this was a 1065, it would qualify.
Well,
qualify
I mean,
go ahead.
If they're filing the Schedule C in their personal tax return, that profit line, and he's excuse me. If they I think they're
you're on mute. There you go.
They go to the K1.
You hear him, Katie?
On those K1. I don't know if that answers it.
Am I the one who dropped?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there we
my
go.
speakers are cutting out.
No, Chris,
I
Chris,
think
I think we're back. Speak to us. Speak to us, Joseph.
Yeah,
What happened?
we're moving on to Philip's
Can
question.
anybody hear me or no?
We heard nothing of it.
All right, we'll go to
All
Philip's
right.
question. Maybe people can hear me. I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Have you heard about the arbitrary $35,000 per employee limit within the API?
It's actually 30,000, but it is still an arbitrary limit, Philip. So, yeah.
You've heard about it. Okay.
Yeah. And SBA's heard about it, and I'm not sure what SBA is going to do about it. So
First I've heard about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris wants to know, question for Chris. So is the lender determining the loan amount?
I believe the lender's determining the loan amount. I guess
yeah.
I mean, you depending on how you want to interpret the regs, I mean, it does say that the lender is supposed to do a review of what the borrowers submit, particularly if it's over $150,000. But even if it's under $150,000, I don't think we want to be allowing funds to go out there, inflated loan amounts. I think we want to make sure it's as accurate as possible. So yeah, we review every single one for accuracy, and I think that's the right thing to do. If you're just rubber stamping these things, I think your institution may find itself having violated what they're statutorily supposed to be doing, Eric.
Chris, I know that you follow the rules and you do refer what you think are fraudulent to the OIG. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you see more incidences in 2.0 or has it dropped?
It depends on the type of loans. So the first draw in 2.0, there's a lot of instances of fraud, as one would expect. There hasn't been much instances of fraud of somebody coming back for a second draw loan, which is good. And we actually have a list that we run everybody across. If, for instance, if we turn them down the first time for suspicious submission, we turn them down categorically the second time. I know it sounds silly that we even have to have that extra step, but we actually do. Yeah.
Okay, last question is, Ralph wants to say, hey, we understand that we can take the profits off of an SCorp, off of a Schedule C and do that, or we could do a partnership, but we can't do it for SCorps. Is he correct in that? And how do you resolve that?
Well, you look at the wages that are reported on the SCorp return itself, but more importantly, those are the situations where
We're
you're
assuming
the
there's no
940s
wages.
or the 940s.
We're assuming there's no wages. It flows through.
Well, then, again, if they have officer comp, which is oftentimes will be on an SCorp return, I would look at that. They may not be filing 940s and 941s, so it's a little bit of a judgment call, Ralph. I would say. You don't see too many like that, I guess, is my point.
Okay, very good. All right. We have a ton of content coming up. We have 2 webinars. We have one specifically for SIC Code 72, restaurant hotel owners. The theory on this is sign up and you can invite your borrowers. This is for the borrower. This is for the people who hold the loans. And we'll give you a link and you can send that out to everyone. So we're going to do that on the 9th, and we're going to follow the following week on the 16th with a webinar on all other codes. There are special rules for restaurants and hotels, specifically the 3.5 payroll calculation that we want to take a look at. And we're going to do Chris's favorite topic next week on Thursday on holds. And we're going to let Lance go through and look at that smirk. And Lance is going to tell you how to resolve hold codes. Yeah. I'll give you a pro tip is don't grow your beard. Chris does. I don't think that's solve anything, but hey, I know. All right.
I think I heard about every fifth.
All right, well,
I take each.
Hey, Chris, thank you very much. You're busy. Thanks. Joining us for Coleman Report Live, supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur.